This is Simran, Council Member, Golden Jubilee Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Guru Nanak Dev University. And you're watching a new edition of eSpotlight, where we invite budding and leading entrepreneurs and mentors to share their entrepreneurial journey with us. Today I have with me Mr. Michiel Westermann, who is associated with POM Netherlands as a senior expert and is guiding entrepreneurs all across the globe. We had our honor of having him with us during the very inception of our incubation center here at Guru Nanak Dev University in the year 2020. And we are so glad to have you once again with us. I welcome you. And to start, I'd like to ask you, how are you connected with POM, right? Since how long you've been connected with POM, and what role exactly do you play?
POM only since 4 years, and my first real mission was to Guru Nanak, so that was for me very interesting. It was both sides, not only for you interesting maybe, but also for me, because I had never done it. It's a volunteer organization, and they try to match people with a certain knowledge out of their past with companies or institutions where they need help. I have a past also in Incubator, so that was the reason I was matched with Guru Nanak Dev.
Right. So you've had this motivation of starting a lot of businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You've tried,
Yeah.
you might have failed.
Yeah.
There must have been moments where you succeeded instantly,
Yeah.
right? But I want to ask you, what keeps you going on this road less taken? And why I say a road less taken? Because a lot of entrepreneurs just take a step back when they meet failures.
Mm-hmm.
You need some kind of motivation to keep you dedicated and focused to that road. So what keeps an entrepreneur on that road?
Maybe being stubborn. No, that's not the case. If you start your own business, it is always a kind of a dream because you believe in it. So if you meet a problem, you can sit down and say, I forget about it, but that's a bit ridiculous. It is your dream. So it's a challenge. So as long as you see it as a challenge, then I think you're always okay. And of course, I've had nights that I couldn't sleep and that I was worried as a madman, how do I survive? But at the same time, it forces you to think in other ways than you would have done without that problem. So it could be also very beneficial.
Right. So as an incubator, what do you think is the most important role that you play when it's about guiding an entrepreneur? Because of course it comes with a lot of roles, sometimes you're just specifically motivating, sometimes you're providing a technical advice on something. But for a budding entrepreneur, as an incubator, what do you think is the first and prior most important thing that you have to convey to them?
To the entrepreneur, first of all, enjoy. Really, it is a journey, and it is a fun journey. And even if it doesn't work out, you have had the fun in trying it, and then you try something else. In Silicon Valley, quite often people who have never failed, they are not accepted even. So they prefer someone who has failed, and they will ask him, what did you learn out of it? And as long as you're learning from the mistakes or the things who have not gone wrong, I don't see any problem with that.
Right. So if we specifically talk about students, who have this fire in them, that they want to do something of their own, starting their own business. Sometimes it is associated with the study that you're doing.
Yeah.
People have the stereotype that you have to be an MBA, or you have to have a degree in finance or something that makes business successful if you want to become a good entrepreneur. Do you think that's true?
No.
Or you can come from any field and, make your dream come true?
I've seen so many entrepreneurs from different fields, so it's always depends on the person.
Right.
That's really by far the most important part. But what you could do, if you're purely technical, then you are lacking a lot of information. So hire someone or match with someone who has the skills you don't have, and you can influence that yourself. But if the concept comes from you, then it's your dream first of all. And then secondly, you take people along with you and you make them enthusiastic about your dream. And then it can work.
Right.
It doesn't matter at all what your background is.
Right. So if we compare developing and developed countries,
Yeah.
the scope of entrepreneurship and the mindset that
Yeah.
people hold towards it
Yeah.
is totally different. How do you compare this difference? What do you think is the biggest gap between the developing and developed countries,
Yeah.
which is playing a role in sort of lower speed
Yeah.
of entrepreneurship to become a huge concept?
Well, it's always difficult to talk for another country. So I can better compare it with the Netherlands. 25 years ago, I think it was a bit the same what I see around here. There were not many entrepreneurs. It was not glamorous. It was not seen as something you could do. Well, at the moment, when you find someone who has done his graduation, and he is telling, even not that he's starting on his own, but he tells his friends, I'm going to work for a startup, and everybody will say, wow, what a great chance for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the mentality has shifted within 25 years completely. So I think here also in India that can speed up very, very fast. Yes, at the moment there is kind of risk averse, but I'm trying to explain every time is if you go to work for a job for a big company, how big is the chance that you will stay the rest of your life in that company? All these companies are changing very fast. They're getting rid of, I use Twitter as an example, 2/3 of the people have gone within 3 months.
Right.
So that was a job secure, but not at all.
Mm-hmm.
So when are you more secure? Maybe when you take your destiny in your own hands.
Right. Communication is the key. I've
Yeah.
heard it a lot of times from you.
Yeah.
Sometimes people lack that.
Yeah.
Not everybody is a good communicator.
Correct.
But to become an entrepreneur, you might have a great idea, but
Yeah.
if you're lacking in that very basic skill, what can compensate that?
If I would be 100% technical guy, I'm technical background, but that's something different.
Yeah.
Then I would look for a partner who is good in the commercial side. You don't have to learn everything.
Yeah.
You have to make a team what works, and that's more important. If you do it yourself, you can teach yourself, and that takes time. I used a course I had in how to get a job from INSEAD to learn to do my sales.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use all kind of examples, and you can teach yourself partially. But partially, it is a given. So maybe sometimes better to make a match with someone else who can do better what you cannot do.
Yeah. So a little technical question,
Mm.
but what do you think are ingredients to a good business plan? Is it, do we have a rule of thumb, or is it different? Or are there specific things that have to be there, while other things and other ingredients could be a little flexible? But do you think that there is some, textbook good business plan, or we just have to always improvise? What is the art?
No, there's not a textbook good business plan. I don't believe in that.
Uh-huh.
I can tell only from myself. For me, it has been always very important if I could formulate vision, mission, and objectives. If you can put in one sentence what the mission is of your company, then you can grab the essential and you can build on the essential. Mm-hmm. The essential should fit in a good world, in a world where you want to be in, and that's what I call the vision. And out of it, you make a distillation of the objectives, how to achieve it, and then after it, you go to all the normal stuff. Okay. That's at least the way I approach it, and that depends on what you are doing. It can be a service, it can be a product, it can be anything.
Right. So you were here with us in 2020, when we were starting with our incubation center. It's been 2 years.
Yeah.
What do you think makes a good incubation center? What kind of service that they have to specifically focus on? What kind of attitude does an incubation center needs to hold? And what are your views, coming after 2 years?
Yeah.
How do you see, our incubation center growing in these 2 years?
I'm impressed, first of all. And let's be realistic. In theory, it is 3 years, but in practice, it's only 1 year because we have had a standstill during COVID for 2 years. So officially it was 2020, but you have done only 1 year work really on the incubator, and I think it's impressive what has been done. I enjoyed very much my discussions in the past with Dr. Patti, and he is what I call a sponge. He takes in everything, but then he is also smart enough to say, does it fit in the philosophy of Guru Nanak Dev? Does it fit in the philosophy of Punjab? And these are the elements who are the most important, because you always have to adapt to the circumstances. And the circumstances here are, of course, different than in the Netherlands. If I look to an incubator, there are, of course, all the basic elements what you need to organize. It's the building, it's the placement, it is all what you have in the labs downstairs is also great. But what I will tell you beforehand is, even if you have organized the grants and some investment, the most important part, if you can help there as an incubator, is to get the first client for the entrepreneur. If you have your first client, you are officially in the business, and you have to show that you can do something, and otherwise you don't have anything.
Right. So you mentioned the times of COVID.
Yeah.
We see that a lot of entrepreneurs just stopped doing what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know, they got into getting jobs. They didn't even have jobs for a long period of time because there were huge layoffs and everything.
Yeah.
What do you think an entrepreneur's vision should be in the times when everything sort of seems impossible, whether it's the support of government, you know, whether it's, you know, nation on the whole, when the whole world is in a catastrophe? What do you think an entrepreneur's vision should be, especially small entrepreneurs, you know, people who are starting really small business?
Well, at the moment you have through the internet all kind of possibilities. So why you cannot continue? You have to change maybe your plan, but you can adapt to it. And you can do a lot of things digitally, not everything. So for certain, if you have a restaurant, it is very difficult. If you're not allowed to receive someone, then that's your business is gone. That's impossible. Nobody can do something about that. But maybe you could, some restaurants have done, make meals so you can take away at home easily. You sell them digitally. So there are always some possibilities.
Right.
Not endlessly, but there are always possibilities to do some business.
There's always a reason to continue.
There's always a reason to continue.
Right.
Never give up. Never.
Right. So when you say the word entrepreneur, I think one thing that comes with it is stress. You know, the psychological stress that a person has to go through. Because it's one man's dream, you know, that one man, you know, gathers up a team, right, and then starts the work. But it's your dream. It's specifically one person's dream, you know. So how does that one person behind the whole plan, the whole dream, handles that psychological pressure?
Well, first of all, I don't believe that there are many it's only one person who has a dream. Quite often you do it in combination, because you're talking with someone else, you come up with a concept, or you come up with a product idea, then it's already a shared dream. So I'm a bit careful for the one-man band, because that's like you make yourself kind of a hero. Well, that's not the case. You are only the leader. And if you're the leader, you're trying to form a team. And in the team, you're making the next steps. So as long as you do that, as you're in a normal business. It is a bit overrated in the sense how important the only entrepreneurs. It's always a combination of people. It can be that even an entrepreneur who is on his own has a client who is very important, and the client is the real first client. Then even there you have the combination of the two, because this client has trust in a person who is starting his own business. So who is more important? Maybe the client is even more important than you are with your own business.
Right. So I think government and political policies, you know, they play a huge role, you know, when you're starting, you know. One thing that you have to, you know, technically see is the environment that your country has. What do you think is one thing that we're still not focusing on when it comes to providing something from a political front, from government's front, to an entrepreneur? It's one thing that we still don't have our eyes on, but it's very much need of an hour when we are talking about, you know, a nation as a whole.
The startup world is not organized here, not at all. The incubators are independent of each other. They are not really working together. They're not looking to clusters of industries, how they can approach it. And I think the government could help much more in trying to build this network. And this network should really be the core of all the entrepreneurship around it.
Right.
And then you can broaden it, and then you can deepen it.
Right. So we have a lot of budding entrepreneurs, who will
Yeah.
be seeing this show.
Yeah.
Any message, you want to give to them, to motivate them, it'll be great, if they hear it directly from you right now.
Enjoy what you are doing and every day of your life, and especially when you're in your business, you will be worried, and of course you will be scared, and that's a part of being an entrepreneur. But on the other side, it's the most satisfaction-giving element if you succeed in challenging your own journey. So please do it and try it, and even if you don't do it now, get some experience and try it later. All the best.
All right. Thank you so much. It was an honor to have you here. And it is my request to all the viewers to keep connected, to us. And we'll be bringing more lectures to you, more interactions with mentors and entrepreneurs from all over the world directly to you. This is Simran Kaur signing off. Thank you so much.